Alright guys, I'm back with another review. This one is one I'm probably as pumped as I've been for anything else to show, to break into. I just received it and kind of put some other things aside so I could film this video, so I had a reason and an ability to open this package up. But this is from Axytoys. This is part of their Dinosaur Battlefield series. This is the T-Rex figure in the black colorway. At least that's what they call this one. He's more of a purple-red color to me, but he's the Carnivorous Kins T-Rex Bloodbane, I guess is his official name. But either way, he's the big mama jama of the carnivores, the T-Rex, the king of the dinosaurs. So let's get this wrapping off and take a better look here. All right, and here we go. Without that pesky cling film to get in the way, we can see it a little bit better, the packaging. Looks similar to some of the other Dinosaur Battlefield packaging I have, just quite a bit bigger box. And we also have this little free-floating purple sleeve here at the bottom. Take a little bit closer look at it. Looks like we have some information on heating the joints. We have some other QR codes, not sure what those go to. Some pictures of some of the weapons there. Nothing really too terribly exciting. We have some cool artwork of the T-Rex himself. A little bit better shot of the box. Wasn't really covering up anything on here. There's some information like do not wipe it with any thinners or anything like that. Some different warnings. A little bit closer look at that side there. A little closer look at the T-Rex himself. And on this top, we have the Dinosaur Battlefield logo. Let's cut this guy open. Here's a card. Comes with it. Pretty nice, thick card. Got some artwork. Well, not really artwork, but a photo here. I've seen this photo. They use it in the promotional shots a lot. This is a really nice photo. This guy looks so incredible. And here is like a bio. And inside the box in the back panel there, we can see some more artwork of the T-Rex himself. Kind of hard to see through there with all the glare, but it's in there. All right, it's a bit larger than some of the figures I review, so it's difficult to get everything in frame here, or might be. But here we have the clamshell here. Looks like a top layer. We have a layer of some extra protective film for the figure. We have some nice plain flavored gel silica. Got an extra set of hands here. These look like some gripping hands. Very nicely painted. Palms, the nails, all the scales. Nice paintwork so far. Got his tail. Oh yeah. That's cool. First look at the dino here. The T-Rex himself. Looking really sharp. All the way down from the toes. All the way up to the top of his head. Nice paintwork. Nice sculpting. Already really loving these soft goods. I mean, this is like soft goods too. Leather and the buckles and all that. But we'll take a closer look at that shortly here. Alright, we have a tray of weapons and accessories here. First thing we got up is these two pauldrons, is shoulder armor. It's so much detail already just in these first couple pieces I've grabbed. Really, really nice. I mean, I'm just giving you my feelings as I look through this stuff, but so far I couldn't be happier. This is better than I was expecting, better than I was hoping, you know. Sometimes you see stuff, you see pictures, you watch reviews, as I have for this guy. You maybe get yourself hyped up, and then things aren't quite what you wanted. But so far, so good. This looks like his helmet piece of armor, where I think that Triceratops skull can kind of plug on top. But this is nicely done, like jawbone work and sculpting and painted there. Looks like a little piece of elastic or some kind of rubber band material there. There's a nice close-up view of this Triceratops skull. I think this can go on one of his weapon handles, so we can hold it kind of like a mace or a staff. Well, I think it sits on top of his head, and we'll look at all that shortly here. But it's a nice metal rod for the peg. That wash and the paintwork goes all the way around this skull. This is a really nice accessory. Here's one of the two weapons. Looks like that is included. We have like this knife or sword. Nice jagged points. We see all kind of blacksmithing marks, you know, like all the divots in the steel from it being worked. You know, it's not just smooth plastic. Looks like some signs of wear and tear, some battle damage. And also these teeth have a little bit of blood kind of paint, if you can pick that up there. Also has a port here in the bottom for hooking it up to a staff accessory piece here. Here we have the second weapon. The handles here, we have kind of this blade going out the back and this cool blade design going on here with a little metal peg here as well. Same thing here, we have blacksmithing marks, signs of battle damage and war. We got some blood pickups on there. This is very cool. I don't know how many weapons I have that take up my whole palm of my hand like this. This is really impressive. It's a big weapon. Looks to be a necklace piece we have with a little bead and some cord there so we can lengthen it out around him. Alright, we got some dangly bits here. I'm thinking these are to hang off his waist or loincloth or maybe other parts of his armor, as I've seen in... the only other figure I have right now is the Carnivorous, and I have some of the herbivores on pre-order, and I'm looking for some of the other figures, but the other one I have has some dangly bits like this, little like bird skull, this medallion, and this medallion here. Looks like we have a bag with some little double-sided tape. I think that's for the optional for the crown, some replacement bands for that crown, and a bag with various bits and bobs, horns and bone pieces and whatnot, and the pegs for the pauldrons. Over here we have the handle for the weapons we can use, or for that Triceratops skull. That is a very nice handle. And we have the soft goods that comes in a bag. His cape. Now this is some faux fur there, but this is also like a fur material, not just a solid fabric. And there are some pretty thick wires running down either side. So this side here, that's one whole wire between my fingertips. Nothing around the neck, nothing at the bottom of the cape, and then one wire here. So probably more to help with droop as opposed to... We might see if we can get some dynamic poses out of that. It's kind of got that tattered edge. Very nice. Alright, here's the T-Rex all loaded out. I just couldn't help myself. I threw... Once I started putting on some of his armor and accessories, I just kept going. So this is basically everything that comes in the box. The whole kitchen sink thrown on him at once. And we'll strip him down here a little bit by little bit and kind of look at him not quite as heavily regaled. But here he is. I put that kind of hand axe weapon together with the handle, made it into like a longer axe. He has that Triceratops skull worn on his helmet as opposed to on that handle. I put his pauldrons on and that cape, which actually went on a lot easier than I thought they would. It's really not too finicky. The necklace there, he has a couple of dangly bits from the shoulders and some dangly bits from the belt line, the belt chain that's there, that were added on. On his gauntlets and on his leg armor, there's some ports, some open holes that I put some of the included spikes and things like that in. And I didn't quite use up all of them. We'll look at what's left in a moment. But yeah, this is basically him as geared up as he can get geared up. It's a really, really amazing looking figure. I'm beyond blown away so far. I can't believe I found this guy when I did, and that he's in my collection now. Alright, here we have him decrowned and decaped. I took that Triceratops piece and put it on the bottom of this other dagger weapon. The way that these weapons come apart, like this one here, comes apart. We have a metal peg in here, and this little metal peg, if you get it, will come out. So you actually have it in either way. Same with the knife weapon there. Has a like a female hole, and then that Triceratops head has one of these pins in it too. So you can kind of configure that skull wherever you want. It can be on this handle, it can be on the bottom of this weapon, the bottom of that knife, as we see, just however you choose to lay that out. Or it can port directly into his head armor there, his helmet. So I also took that cape off, which the cape just consists of these couple little hooks right there. And this just goes straight over his pauldrons, and there's a couple of, eyelets right there that the hooks grab onto. So it's really easy to take the cape on and off. In here we have him without the pauldrons, without the helmet. And I also swapped out his right hand, that weapon gripping hand, to this open pointing hand. Gives him a little different look. Also took off his necklace there. So these pauldrons that have these dangly bits on them, they just attach with this pin, just straight into the ports on the back. So very easy to take off. The helmet has a little rubber band on there, so that just slips over his head. No big deal. Necklace just has a little bead and the string to tighten up. So real easy to swap this around. Those dangly bits are a little fiddly. You're moving them around, especially these the pieces on the front here that are hanging off the chain around his loincloth piece and stuff. These little dangly bits are a little finicky. They kind of fall off if you're not being careful when you're posing them and moving them around. But everything else is actually pretty secure. A little bit more secure than that the Carnivorous that I have, actually. And here we have him stripped down. I left his leg armor on there, but you can just pop off his feet, just like I did his hands, and slip them off, or there's buckles on there that you can undo. Like this is one of the gauntlets there. I just slipped it off, but this is kind of like a leatherette material, and these buckles are functional, so you can pull them off either way. Same with the belt piece. It has a buckle and a little piece of Velcro to help support it, so there's not so much stress on that little piece of leatherette and the buckle. But you can take it off that way, or you can pop him at his waist joint and pull him apart. But this is what he looks like all stripped down. All right, let's take a little closer look at him and some articulation, but I do want to look at some of these paint details real quick. This is really nice. His eyes, I'm really, really surprised by. I don't know, to me they look really, really cool. The teeth, maybe a little bit sloppy on that paint, like on the kind of like the wash that's on there, but they look really good. I mean, they're clean, they're grimy. You know what I mean? The paint job's pretty clean, they're grimy. All the inside of the mouth is painted, the tongue's painted. You don't see like a big gap at the back of his mouth. The jaw's articulated really nicely. The texture's really cool, the sculpt work and all that. All right, but yeah, the other paint work you can kind of see around his body, but that head I wanted to take a closer look at. So head articulation will start there. This is straight on. That's as far up as he can look. That's as far down as he can look, which is pretty good since he's going to be towering over most other people. You can turn his head side to side, and then you get a little bit of like left and right bend. So not incredible, but it's a pretty good amount, for a big, beefy, bulky guy like this. We can definitely get him up in a T-pose. A little bit better than T-pose, actually. He has these sleeves that kind of cover this that are just loose. They just spin here. There's no butterfly joint. There is a little wobble back and forth, but it's not like a true butterfly joint. But yeah, the arms go all the way around if you want them to. The bicep piece is just loose, or not loose, but it spins freely around there. We have a single jointed elbow that gives us about 90 degrees, and the wrists are this type of ball joint where it's split, so you can get it where it's articulated left and right, or kind of work it around where you can get that hand going up and down. Really good articulation in the wrist. I mean, actually the whole arm is pretty good. Now on the diaphragm, we get a little bit of bend down. Honestly, not as much as you might think, and when he's naked like this, you do get gapping. You do get a decent amount up and down. Not as much as you might think you'd get out of him, but it's pretty good. And with the armor, he can still do that. The hips come out to about there. Legs come out to about there. There is a cut here. And this material here, like around his whole groin and hips, is actually a softer, more pliable material, which is nice. So you can get these legs up in good positions. You're not worrying about damaging the plastic. And then we have a very nice double jointed knee. Gives us a lot of movement there. The feet, really nice mobility in the feet, up and down, and have a good twist. And these toes are actually articulated. Isn't that the coolest? They also turn. So, I thought that was cool. All right, and then this tail also has a little bit of movement in it. Really serves as a kickstand kind of thing. You can get it out of the way, get them in like more crouched positions. And here we can start getting an idea really for how big this T-Rex figure is. On the right, we have another Axytoys Dinosaur Battlefield. This is the Carnivorous Warrior Recruit. And on the left-hand side, we have a Savage Crucible. This is the Viterus Rapex figure. So that's kind of a standard 6-inch figure, 6+ on the left there, and the Savage Crucible. That kind of scales well with a lot of your standard Mythic Legions. And then on the right-hand side is one of the kind of, I guess, standard-sized dinosaur battlefields so far. And you can see he just, not just in height, but in overall bulk, completely makes these guys look like little children. He really does stand out as the king of the carnivores, and maybe all of the dinosaurs. And here we have him on the right with one of the Zesray Studios combatants, and on the left, one of the Storm Collectibles dead frames from Golden Axe 3. I think both these are cool comparisons. For the dead frame on the left here, he is like a reptilian skeleton kind of thing. So, if you're going to have them in your lore and your dinosaur battlefield figures as a kind of a dead reptilian, kind of like how I have him with my Savage Crucible in my existing dinosaur battlefield right now. And then the Zesray guy on the right, just that he's that Roman theme, I would have never thought to put these two together. But looking at the new dinosaur battlefield figures that have been announced, the new herbivores, all the new herbivores are laid out in kind of a Roman armor and shields almost exactly like this guy on the right. So I don't know if these can be like cool placeholder enemies for these carnivores at the moment, or maybe some allies of the herbivores at a time when Roman soldiers and dinosaurs lived together, I guess. Not really sure, but aesthetically, I think they kind of do go together. So that's kind of a neat one to have with them. Right, and here we have them between two Mythic Legion figures. There's two customs I made. One on the left is like a dwarf scale. One on the right is more their standard size. This one on the right really comes up to about the top of his head to the bottom of the T-Rex's pecs. It's just incredible, the height difference. You could almost make an argument this T-Rex is getting too big for like a 1/12 scale figure, but I'm not the one that's going to make that argument. I think he's awesome. All right, and here we have him with a couple of his peers. On the right is a Mythic Legion's Ogre scale figure, and on the left is one of the Zesray Combatants figures, Cassos. So Cassos there is kind of head and head with the T-Rex, and the Ogre is standing maybe a half inch shorter. Overall bulk in that T-Rex, though, he's still a much bigger figure than the other two. Some final thoughts. Trying to cut to the chase, the pros are going to be that he's amazing. The sculpt work is great. The paint work is great. It's just an imposing, massive figure with really cool, very detailed accessories. He definitely looks like the king of something standing on the shelf. Everything that I have that's 1/12 that's next to him, he just looks like he would eat it for breakfast, maybe quite literally. Absolutely imposing, terrifying looking guy. Looks like he should be the leader of some huge military faction. And they really nailed it with that. And getting to the cons, I don't really have much. If you can count being a little fiddly as a con, which I guess you can, then I would say there are some parts of him that are a little fiddly. Really all the dangling bits that you're kind of hooking on there loosely. If you're moving him around a lot, trying to hit poses, trying to take photos and do videos and such, there are going to be parts twisting and popping off and dropping off. But I mean, that kind of comes with it. If you don't want those bits on there, you also don't need to include them on him. So yeah, there is a little bit of fiddliness to it. The paintwork on the back and the paintwork on the tail leaves a little bit to be desired over the rest of him. I feel like they got a little bit lazy there with some of where they were hitting paint. As he comes around again, you can see on the tail that some of these places, the black lines don't really line up with the scales. And I've seen that pointed out by others too. But that's kind of the backside. He'll probably be covered with the cloak when I display him because I want him as full of his regalia as I can get him. So to me, this is probably how he'll be displayed. Something like this. So to me, that's really the only thing I can think of. Now, in today's time, you're looking at him, I want to go buy this figure today. A con is going to be the price / availability. If you are a lucky person or have a time machine, then you could go secure this guy back when he was $100 or $90, maybe on pre-order somewhere or in stock at a retailer. As of right now, I'm kind of late to the game, kind of got into this line a little late, it seems. This guy was not easy to secure. I did end up finding him actually through a Facebook group and got him for a price I thought was unbelievable. So as soon as I saw it posted, I snagged him up, came sealed, amazing. So glad that there's some communities out there where, fans and collectors can help each other out, support each other. If you're going to go to eBay and try to find this guy or try to find it somewhere else, I haven't been able to find him for less than maybe $200, $250, something like that. Now, we start getting into those prices, you're trying to retroactively go back and complete a collection. Those are some hard decisions to make. Like, which figures do you pick up? None of us can go back forever and get all the figures we wish we would have bought when they were back at retail pricing, Unfortunately, that's not how it works. So today, if you want to secure one, I would definitely count price as a con. If you got one when they were new, when they were around, when they were on pre-order, and you secured them, I think $100, an amazing price to pay. I ended up finding them for $135 shipped to me, which I thought was an amazing price. given the climate we're in right now for this figure and the price on him. So I would suggest any of you that are watching that are even remotely looking for this figure, remotely interested, I think you might want it, to search and find it and buy it as soon as you can for a price you feel like is a good price at the moment. You know, if you can find them in that 100 to 150 price range, I still think this figure is well worth it. There's also some other pros that go along with him that I didn't really dig into too much, but just handling this figure, moving him around, all the joints feel really nice. They feel really secure. Nothing was tight, and there's certainly no loose joints on the guy. Everything just feels really nice and fluid moving him around. And for as big and heavy as he is, I haven't really noticed any droop or any kind of, sloppiness or him slouching or anything like that. Yeah, I could continue forever about this guy, but this is right now my favorite figure that I have, hands down, in my collection. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love doing these videos. I like sharing figures that I find and, kind of my thoughts on them. And it gives me an excuse to kind of play with them a little bit more, do some photography and videography. And yeah, hope you guys have a good one. Goodbye.